Wow, I cannot believe this is our last episode of Sit Down with Susan. We want to thank all of you who watched our shows, who agreed to be a part of this project, who supported us financially, or took the time to encourage us. It's been such a fun experience. And so here we are at episode number 10. Now, as Grant and I talked about just what important aspects of Kiowa County we had not showcased, and there are plenty, we kept coming back to the very entity that, without which this show would not have been possible, the Kiowa County Media Center. But really, just what is the Media Center, and what is it all about? Well, when we started to rebuild our community, visionaries like Jan West pushed for something called the Media Center. And in all honesty, the concept was not wholeheartedly embraced. Probably more out of a lack of understanding for just what a powerful asset it could be to our town, to our county, and in truth, the state. Well, suffice it to say, the Media Center got built and that it is doing great things. But people still wonder, what's it all about? Hopefully today, we can answer some of those questions and explore its potential. The person who is the heartbeat of the Kiowa County Media Center is a young man named Grant Neuhold. You might be asking, who's Grant Neuhold? Well, let's be honest, I used to ask the same question. It seemed everyone around me was always talking about him, about his creativity and his excellence on the job. But our paths did not cross for quite some time. Before you meet Grant, there are a couple of things I want to say about him before we sit down together. Two of my favorite qualities of Grant's are his fearlessness and his kindness. He will take on any task, hoping, if nothing else, he can figure it out along the way. And this show is a prime example. But best of all, he's a good soul. He constantly has crew members who know very little about the video business, but Grant treats everyone with patience and dignity, even during the live streams. I love that about him. And in just a moment, Grant is going to make a rare appearance in front of the camera. He is the authority on what the Media Center is, the direction it's going, and its long-term vision. So please come back with us and meet the guy who makes so much happen, Grant Neuhold. This episode of Sit Down with Susan is brought to you by Greensburg Chamber of Commerce. Hi, welcome back to Sit Down with Susan. Today we have a very special guest with us, Grant Neuhold. You're generally behind the camera.
Yes, I am.
Barking orders.
Maybe, yes.
Trying to get everybody the right camera shot, the right time, the right place.
It needs to be perfect.
It does need to be perfect. I totally agree. But we've managed to get you in front of the camera today. And, you know, Grant's he's just a kid. And how in the world did you come into this job? Weren't you only 22 years old when you took over the Media Center?
Yeah, no, this is the first job out of college for me, so I was super green in the ways of the workforce. And so it is a complete wonder that I got a job as cool as I did right out of college. I heard about the job from my sister-in-law, who at the time was on the Media Center board in around 2009, in the early parts of the creation. She was on the board and told me about it while I was still in school. And I was like, wow, that sounds like way too ideal. And they're never going to hire somebody straight out of college. Why would they do that? This is way too cool for that. So I didn't even let my hopes get up, but I still sent in an application just because all they could do is tell me no. and got an interview, sent in my demo reel. They liked that, got an interview, and landed it. And they said that the demo reel was very edgy and up to date and kind of catchy, and that's what they were looking for, is very modern. So they took a chance on a very young, modern videographer.
Well, you're pretty edgy and modern.
Well, I try to stay current, and
Yeah.
with technology, that's really hard to do at times because everything's changing so fast.
And so, like, I can't even imagine. So, like, was the building built?
No, actually, no. When I got
You
to
have a
town,
job in a building that hasn't even been built yet.
yeah, when I got to town and did the interview, I rode around with Jan West, and she had shown me a few things of the rebuild process. I told her I'd been to Greensburg before even the storm, because my brother attended Berkeley College in 2004. So I'd been through the area. I was familiar with the tornado and everything that had happened here. So we were driving around, and she was showing me, here's where the Kiowa County Commons will be, and there'll be a media center, and she was explaining all of that. But for now, the office is going to be out in the community building out at the fairgrounds. That's where it's going to be to start with. Okay, that's pretty cool. And it's hard to kind of get that vision of what it will be someday whenever they're just
Right.
talking about an
Absolutely.
open, empty lot there, yeah, where we're sitting today, yeah.
And so, how did you even know? I mean, honestly, it blows my mind. I'm not even kidding one little tiny bit. It blows my mind. Like, day one, you walk in, and what did you have? Like, did you have cameras? Like, how did you even know? Like, okay, here you go.
Yeah.
Here's the media center. Now what?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was kind of similar to that, but not quite so. Here it is. What can you do with it? But day one was very introductory, to where a lot of it was meeting people and going to functions and understanding what the media center was all about myself, and trying to understand what it can be and what it will be.
You know, so what was your concept? And has that concept changed?
It definitely has changed for me over time. I mean, I didn't fully grasp what the media center was and what it could be.
I don't think any of us did.
Well,
or maybe even do.
Well, and honestly, I could honestly say that I'm still trying to grasp everything that we can do and everything we should be doing, could be doing as a media organization, a nonprofit media organization. So, you know, in the early days, I just knew I needed to record some stuff. I needed to make some stuff for the community.
Did you have the equipment to do that?
Not at very first, actually. I know.
Did you have your flip phone?
We borrowed some cameras from the school at the time. They still had some cameras, I think, left over from the Discovery. Yeah. And so
I think that's right.
we were on loan. I was running around shooting video, and everyone's like, "Who is this guy shooting video with the school's camera?"
That must have been what I was hearing. That's Grant.
Yeah.
Grant's here. Grant's going to film. I'm thinking, who's Grant?
Right. And so I get a lot of questions about, why are you filming this? What are you here for?
Did you know why you were filming it? Like, honestly, I'm not kidding. Did you have like a project in mind? Like, I'm going to film this because I'm going to put together blah, blah, blah. Something?
On some things I was just shooting it just to document. There was a lot of rebuild process when I got here in 2010. Grand openings, ribbon cuttings, groundbreakings, all those kind of monumental things that just needed to be documented as a
2010, yes.
As a community is still recovering. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff that I just took a camera there just because I knew it's important to document. I haven't used a lot of that footage, but who knows what I'll use it for in the future. I just think it's important to document. So yeah, very first it was just shoot this, cover that, film that, and maybe put something together here or there. But we need to start documenting.
What did you do with the film you shot? When you said document it, get it out, like, who saw that film? Like, where was that? Where did people see it?
So certain projects definitely got seen more than others. And one of the big things that kind of got the Media Center's name out there, which is nothing that I even intended, was the first year I was here playing, they had the first Kiowa County school combined year. They were playing football, and I went and covered homecoming and shot some footage of the kids playing football and put that together with some music and a music video from a band, Skillet. And I just kind of put it out there for like, hey, here's something that's kind of cool. And that's when everyone's like, who is this? What is this media center? This is pretty cool. And right away it just got a lot of recognition as far as what the potential is for something like this.
At first, correct me if I'm wrong, people were thinking that maybe your job was to sort of take the place of a parent making videos of their kids' sporting events and extracurricular events throughout the course of the year, like you would keep track of all of that, and then parents could just come buy those at the end of the year or the end of the season or after graduation, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and
which was a start, and it was an important project.
Some of the things that we did, yeah, for sure, and it was just a good way to start practicing for some of the things that we have as far as the technology we have to use and the equipment. So that was a good way, and the sports and the schools partnership has always been a huge part for us from the very beginning. But now we're much more than just film an event and give it to somebody on a DVD. We have a lot more capability than that.
So how has your vision changed then in the span of these 4 years, like from 2010 to 2014? What kind of shift in perspective and goals have you had?
Well, I think early on we didn't focus near enough on what the Media Center can really lend to the community and what we can do with the technology that we have. It was mostly about trying to create things to show other things, like a video about the Twilight Theater and how it needed to be built and what it took to build it and what it will be. And so those are videos that are great informational things that the Media Center has created over time, which is awesome. But now we're kind of shifting in a little bit more about what can we do to use our capabilities to really empower people of the community, different organizations of the community, and really use the power of technology to either get a message out there or to inform or educate through their organization. For instance, we have a lot of different nonprofits in our community, and the best way for them to tell their stories through video, and we can help them do that.
Right. And you mentioned education. And right from the get-go, even as early as 2010, before I knew who you were, I would see you. I now realize it was you. I was saying, in the halls at school, or I would see students coming down to the Commons building during the school day.
Yeah.
And so education has seemed to always be. That's one of the consistent elements of the Media Center is education.
Absolutely.
Do you see that as continuing?
That has been one of the most commonality things that we've been able to follow through everything, is we want to educate. And that's in our mission, is to educate and empower with multimedia technology. And so, of course, students come into play with education.
Sure.
And so that has always been something that I've felt very strongly about, and that's why we started Video Club. And so, I've been down at the school a lot, and the students have been down here a lot, and I've seen a lot of kids already come through the system that has had a little taste of broadcasting and video production technology.
Because now you're starting, younger and younger.
Absolutely. Well, because of that, because they leave me, I get them trained, and I've had students that get really, savvy and they're trained, and then, well, wait, you're graduating, you have to leave?
Yeah.
I better start with the 5th grade because I'll have them for a little while.
Yes,
and so now
that
I
makes
work
sense.
with the Junior High Impact Video Production Committee. And a few days ago, they came down and we talked about how to create good video, how to use the cameras that we have, and they're going to be creating a video about why Kiowa County Junior High is so awesome.
Oh, what a perfect project for junior high kids.
Exactly. So, and we're just giving them the ability to learn a new industry completely and tell a story why they do it.
Wow. And even with this episode, one of the reasons that we get to have you in front of the camera is because you have some young men that you've worked with.
Yep.
Some to a greater degree and some to a lesser degree, but have worked with over the years that are covering all of the bases that need to be covered while you're out here.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is what's really cool is we're filming this during Video Club. It's Video Club's time to be at the Media Center. I lined that up with tonight for shooting the show because I knew I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
And so now we have video clubbers that are actually running all the systems that it takes to create a television show. And some of them have had a few more hours of training than others.
Sure.
But what's really cool is they're all able to jump in and fill a role and do a really, really good job while they're learning something completely new.
Because how many does it take? Like, let's say, I know you cover home games. Football, volleyball, basketball.
Yep.
track even,
We did track for the first time
which
last
is
year.
pretty tricky, I would think.
It was very difficult, but I think we pulled it off, and we're only going to learn from time and time doing it again. And last year was our very first try, and I think it turned out pretty good.
And I see the little silver trailer, when I get to the game to work the gate or whatever. So how many are you talking? Like, what kind of numbers do you need to pull off a home game?
Well, that just kind of depends on how advanced we want to get. We have the ability.
Well, I know you, and I know if you're involved, you want it advanced.
Yeah, well, I want to push the limits a little bit. I don't want to just sit back and say, well, that's good enough. And so if we want to do something that's comparable to stuff you see on television, which we've been compared to a time or two, it takes 12 to 15 people to do that, and to do it effectively, and to do it professionally. And that's everything down from broadcast announcers, floor directors, camera operators, audio technicians. Replay slow motion is one of my favorite things.
Yes.
Graphics, so you know what the score is, who's doing
Right.
what. And then technicians that run the video switcher, that is very, very important to us. And then directors, producers, and all those kind of things that are actually in a television crew that we have down there as volunteers doing it. And it's a lot of fun. Let me tell you, it's really cool, and we're all clicking together, and everybody's kind of getting an idea of what it takes to do this, and we're putting on high-quality shows right here in Kiowa County.
And not everybody could do that because your patience is...
Well...
It's about at a 15 on a 1 to 10 scale.
Well, I mean, it's just, you got to be patient, because you can't expect everybody to know how to produce television the first time they sit down in front of one of those machines or first time they grab a camera.
Right.
And a lot of times we have first timers. And sometimes it gets frustrating, like I want to do so much more, but we need to make sure we're educating as we go, and we can't just bypass the guy that is there for the first time that night.
What I think is great, too, is that I've seen people over the years, especially in the earlier days, that didn't really have any other, they didn't necessarily have a place that they fit anywhere else necessarily. Like maybe they weren't going to be playing in that particular game. Maybe they had that Friday night free or whatever the case might be. And, really kind of some unlikely people I've seen holding the video camera or on top of the booth at the football game, with the camera on the field. And
I love
and that's
that
great. The more that people are involved and committed and feel some ownership, then the better for your program.
Exactly. And I think that's one of my favorite parts of the broadcasting, why I love it so much, is it's such a team effort. Like, I can go out and create a video by myself. And I was telling the class this the other day. As a single videographer, I can go take a camera and audio equipment. I can go produce something all by myself. There's no way you can produce a television show, a sports broadcast like we do, with one person. And it's such a team effort. And like I say, we love it whenever we're all clicking and somebody's doing something that feeds into something else. A cameraman's getting the right shot for the graphic person to put it there, and the TriCaster guy's putting it in while we're hearing the announcers because of the audio. Like, all that stuff has to tie together. And a lot of people...
So you're having your own little victories over there in the
absolutely.
silver trailer while the games are going on.
We're high-fiving. Like, we'll pull something off. Like, we'll go from a replay to a commercial and come back out with a cool graphic, and then we'll throw in a little... sponsorship here, something really kind of neat, different, new. I always love doing that, and we're like hooping and hollering, celebrating, high-fiving, because those are our own little victories, and that is where we really see that growth and that progress, and that's why people like to come back, because they love that.
Energy is kind of addictive, really, I would think.
Yeah, and we're always kind of striving for that perfect show, and it never happens because it's television. I mean, but we're getting there. I mean, every year we take leaps and bounds, and we get a lot of compliments like, wow, I can't believe you guys are doing that from right here in Kiowa County.
I was really impressed, and I don't know, honestly, I do not know the history behind how it all came to pass. But you and your crew actually went to the state 2A basketball tournament at K-State at Manhattan.
Yep, we did. We went up there last year.
And did a live stream?
We did 16 games in 4 days over the internet.
Oh my goodness. Were you all exhausted?
Well, yeah, but at the same time, there's a lot of excitement in that too. Because the state atmosphere, we're in Bramlage Coliseum, we're sending a feed to the Jumbotron, which is something that was extra cool. We had an excellent time up there, and it really showcased what our capabilities are doing, not just here in the community, but elsewhere.
Right, that's what I mean, statewide.
Yeah.
And I know that, we've talked about ball games and school and state basketball, but I know you've gotten involved in a lot of other things, rodeos, and what are some of the other events that your group has been asked to film and get involved in?
Well, rodeo definitely. Obviously, in this area, rodeo is a big deal.
Yes.
We've filmed the Greensburg Rodeo. We've done the KPRA finals for a couple of years. Was trying to get over to PCC this year and do their college rodeo and just didn't quite work it out this time, but we're planning on it for next year.
Oh, good.
Trying to expand again out of our community a little bit. The other really cool thing we do is the WEPAC Hoops for Hope charity basketball game that takes place in South Central, in the South Central area, sometimes Coldwater, sometimes Ashland. That is a really neat event that goes on, and we broadcast a basketball game from down there. And we got to do that last year, and we're getting prepared to do it again this year, and I'm really, really excited.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
And so, clearly, when school gets going, the pace in your life picks up dramatically.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, which I love that. I love that part of it, to the fast pace. We got a game this week, we got video club, we got classes coming down. We're always something going on. Summers are busy too, but when school hits, it's unbelievable.
It's a whole nother ball.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother ball game.
It is. It is. It truly is.
And of course, we would be remiss, not because it's this show, but you do have, quite a studio inside the Commons area for the Media Center as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Our studio and our facility here in the Commons is just unbelievable. I tell people that come by, I'm like, this is an amazing studio for anywhere. This is unbelievable for Greensburg, Kansas. Population, 850 or abouts there.
Right.
To have something like this in a community that's open to the community, that's for the community. I mean, just like we're doing here tonight.
Exactly.
A show about our own community organization from in our own community. We didn't have to travel to do this.
No. And just so you all know, there is a wall beyond us, and Grant actually wanted all season to bring in a live audience and pull those doors back and have people come in and sit down. It turns out we'd do 3 or 4 shows a day. We never really got to that level.
Yeah.
But that was always
next season.
next season. And like I said, he's fearless. I just randomly said one day, how about because I was teaching in a traditional school and left that job in May to retire and just kept my virtual job. But I said, how about we just do a talk show or something? He's like, oh, let's do it. And so really, all I had to do was show up and talk. So my part was, easy breezy. But, and I have a feeling, and I've said this before, I think if I had said, I've got an idea about watching grass grow, but it would require using the the studio downstairs. Can we do it? Yes, because I've really been wanting to use that.
Well,
studio.
I have. This studio was completed in 2012. It was completed when the building, as far as the space, but the technology that was not in place until 2012. And I haven't really done a whole lot in there. And people come by and they ask, what's that studio for? And I'm like, you know what? We're still working that out. I didn't have great answers. Now I have an answer. We're producing a show about our own community in Greensburg, in our studio.
And I think it would be so awesome if other communities.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. Not only can we do that for ourselves, but we can allow others to come here and do
Right.
that. I have a great relationship with Stafford Economic Development. We've worked together before, and I've talked to the director there and said, you guys could do the same thing. You just have to travel a little bit.
Right.
Promote
Right.
your own community professionally, high quality. Everybody's watching video on the internet these days, and that's where all of this is going. We don't have to have a television contract. We don't have to follow television
Right.
rules,
Right.
and we're still producing a television show. It's just.
And
it
I
kinda
can't tell
blows my
you
mind.
how many people, I'm not kidding, said to me after they watched, their first episode, whatever episode it happened to be, the first one they watched, I would get, messages on Facebook. My gosh, that is so professional looking.
Yeah, and again, we
And
strive for that.
it's like kudos to you and to what we have here.
Yeah, I was
at
saying,
Kiowa
I
County.
couldn't do it without the space and the equipment that we have, which is just reminds me again and again how fortunate we are to have what we have, because nobody else could do this. Nobody
Right.
else. I mean, in much even larger communities. I'm looking at an organization that we're very, very similar to, but they're in Denver. you know.
Isn't that something?
So yeah, you're not going to find it in small communities, and I just really think the power of media is in our hands, and it's up to us or the media center and the community to decide how we use it. And I really want to do more outreach to the community and say, what do you want from the media center? We can do a lot of different things. We have a lot of different capabilities: video production, audio production, web design, graphic design, studio production like we're doing. I mean, we have a lot of capabilities, not to mention the trailer. We can roll a studio around wherever we want to and produce, but it's hitting me more and more all the time about really the power that we have under our fingertips.
This is just the tip of the iceberg.
It really is. It really is. We're just getting started, and that's why I was so excited when you came to me about a show, because I can see the potential behind it.
Yeah, it's been fun. And, you know, while we have you here and we have some students on the premises, I think it behooves us to take a look upstairs at the rest of the media center.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen down here in the studio and back where the boards and the technology is in place, but really we ought to look upstairs and just see what you have there as well.
It's all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, come back in just a moment and we'll travel upstairs to the media center. I think they have some changes that they are planning up there, maybe making it more educationally accessible. So come with us and we'll take a look upstairs.
The internet has drastically changed the way we communicate. Are you keeping up with the times? The Kiowa County Media Center can connect you with viewers in markets all over the region, the state, and the world. Our technology keeps us on pace with the high demand of internet video content. Bring your audience from anywhere in the world to your wedding, conference, sporting event, concert, and much more. No one does high-quality video streaming like us. We are the Kiowa County Media Center, leading the new age of communication.
This episode of Sit Down with Susan is brought to you by Greensburg Chamber of Commerce. Okay, so this is the upstairs of the media center. And over here I see you have a lot of workstations.
Yeah, these are...
What goes on over here?
Well, these are our workstations. They're just basic computers made to be production facility or production units for us, for either students or they're open to the community. So people can come in and use the latest Adobe software, some of the best stuff for creating graphic design, video production, even web design from here. So these are all open, and the classes come down and use these almost daily and learn all the video production software.
Okay, so you say community, and let's say that people have about the same level of expertise as I do, which is not hardly any at all.
Right.
So, like, what would I come up here to do?
Well, if you're interested in how to create a video, say you go and film your family vacation, and you want to put that together to show all the rest of your family during a reunion or something. Okay. You can take a bunch of pictures, you can take a bunch of video from your phone even, come in and use our software.
From our phone even?
Yeah, I mean, I shoot video and pictures on my phone all the time. Actually, usually when I go on vacation, I don't even take another camera because I'm going to shoot it on my phone anyway.
Right.
So you can take and put all that on the computer and add music to it, transitions, and put together a little family vacation video. I mean, that's just a small example of one thing somebody can do.
A regular...
Yeah. And it's not like I just say, well, good luck with that. I'm going to give you time. I'm going to be over your shoulder. I'm going to show you how to use this software. It's very complex at first, but once you get the hang of it, we got 5th graders using this stuff.
And I can tell you from personal experience, I have come up and clipped videos. I don't get fancy. I just trim them at the beginning and trim them at the end. But Grant showed me how to do all that, and I typed up the directions. I still keep them with me.
Yeah, I remember that was hilarious. You had all those directions in your sheet and some of the language. But exactly, I mean, I was able to spend a little bit of time with you, and you were able to create that video for your class using these workstations.
Right.
And did it cost you anything?
Not one time.
Oh, that's right.
It was free.
That's pretty nice.
I know, it was nice. I know, free doesn't happen much in the world.
Yeah.
And so you have how many of these?
Well, this setup, and this is what we talked a little bit about changing this around. This setup allows for 16 different people to sit in here. And all of that's pretty nice, and that would be nice for different organizations. That's not great for us because we can't really conduct class in here.
Because they're so isolated from each other.
We can't sit everybody down, look at one thing, and have me just show them the programs. So we're actually going to change all of this out, hopefully, in the near future to tables and rows and face them towards a wall and put a TV on the screen.
So much more educationally comfortable.
And we talked about education being one of the main things
Right.
we do, and this is just hindering us right now. And we've recognized that, and we really want to switch it around, not only for the students in classes like that come down, but partnering with the 547 Art Center. They're doing a photography class right now. What's good with
yes.
photography? Photoshop. We have Photoshop here, and we want to bring all those people who've taken those pictures in and learn how to take them to the next level in a class up here during Photoshop.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
That would be great. Now, I'm really sorry I wasn't in town the day that they had the
They're
photography.
going to do it again, because
Are
I
they?
wasn't either, and they're going to do it again, and I want to make sure I'm in that class because there's still a lot to learn about photography that I don't know.
Awesome. So, come back. We still have our musical guests. Don't forget about that. We'll see you in a few minutes. Sit down with Susan. Hi, thank you for coming back to Sit Down with Susan. For our last and final show, we get to have one of my favorite musical guests from the summer, Abandoned Kansas. And so now, for your musical enjoyment, Abandoned Kansas.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I wish you may, I wish you might allow my head one restful night. Tell me all the secrets only you knew. Tell me that you feel the same way I do. Distance is our hindrance, but nothing's in between us except a couple thousand miles. My indifference and your denial. And even when I'm gone, you're stringing me along. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't walk away from you. I don't think I'm able to cut the cable if I wanted to. Look at you, I'm caught, like it or not, like it or not, like it or not, like it or not. Hello, my queen, did you hear that I'm not royalty? You have no business liking me. I wish that I could read your mind. We're in a knot we can't untie. I don't think I'm able to cut the cable if I wanted to. Look at you, I'm caught, like it or not, like it or not, like it or not, like it or not. Distance is our hindrance, but nothing's in between